Hello everyone, this is a 2010 BMW 335i with the M Sport package. Today we are going to be installing the VRSF 5-inch stepped intercooler. This is a direct bolt-on and should be a huge upgrade to the OEM cooling system of this car. The reason we are doing this is because we're going to be tuning it for stage 2, and along with that installing downpipes, so this is pretty much required. The first step is obviously to lift up the car, and we're going to be securing the back with 2 blocks of wood. Once you have secured the back wheels and tires with blocks of wood and also pulled up the handbrake as far as it can go, this wheel is going to be changed out. But once you've done that, you're ready to lift the car up from the front. A good spot to lift the car is right here. There is a lift point exactly in the center of the car. This is a safe spot because it's supported by the subframe and it's going to be the safest place. Once you have lifted the car off the ground to your desired amount, place 2 jacks near the control arms and slowly lower the vehicle. This will keep the vehicle centered, balanced, and off the ground so you can reach the intercooler. I forgot to mention that the reason we don't have a bumper on here is because it was hit and damaged, so we're replacing it. So we thought it'd be a good time to replace the intercooler before we put on the new bumper. But anyways, before you get to the intercooler, you have to replace, or not replace, but remove this tiny lip from the front. This can be done by twisting these little things, and then it can be pried off. Okay, so once you're under the car, the next step is pretty obvious, but I'll show you guys anyways. There's these tiny little clips that go in like this, and they hold this plastic trim. There's kind of rocks down here, but see this clip right here? You twist it off. Basically it's twisted the other way. It's kind of stuck now, but it was twisted and this part was holding this plastic clip tight. So you got to get that plastic clip loose and have rocks fall on your eyes first, and then you can start working. So on the passenger side, we've already loosened this screw right here, and there's another one right here. I'll try to record it and anyways, you get the point. You have to unscrew those first. Once you have removed those screws, you can start to pry it off, and then you're gonna have to get to the hoses. But I highly recommend some safety glasses because this thing loses a lot of rocks and dirt and debris, and that can fall on your eyes. While the intercooler is out, I forgot to film the step. But basically you remove these safety clips from the hoses on each side, and after you remove that, you can just pry the intercooler out. It takes a little bit of wiggling, but since we're going to be throwing this one away anyways, it doesn't really matter if we kind of mess up the fins. And once you take it out, you're exposed to these 2 hoses, and you have to cut that clamp, and then that's when we can begin installing the other one. Okay, so now, and this one we already have the aftermarket VRSF charge pipe. You're going to have to disconnect this T-bolt clamp, which runs down to that elbow right there, and we're going to be installing this hard intercooler piping instead of the soft plastic rubberish one. This one is going to connect with the couplers, which will lead to the intercooler. Okay, so after you've unscrewed the T-bolt clamp, you can then push the soft, or I mean pull the soft intercooler piping out, the OEM one, and then this is where we'll install this one, and it'll lead down there out of the car. But we can't because of a tiny little clamp on it that keeps hitting the hose. This pipe right there, that pipe. So what we're doing is we're gonna cut it, section it off from right there, that little metal band, but our blade broke, so we're going to be using this rock to grind that metal clamp right there until we can section off the tube. Okay, so here is the culprit. As you can see on this side, we cut a very precise, not very precise cut, and now you can pull this stupid thing out of here, and you see that little clip right there? That holds that hose right there in place, and that stupid clip was what was preventing us from taking out the pipe. So now you can celebrate, and now it's time to install this right there. This will be facing down, and then this end will connect to that coupler and then the intercooler. Here in the front we have the OEM intercooler. As you can tell, it's way smaller than the one in the back. This is the VRSF upgraded intercooler, and the customer has asked us to place our logo in the front, which is obviously from H&H Racing. Now, we're going to be placing it in the car. We have the aftermarket hard piped intercooler tubing right there. The new one just installed. We have the brand new silicone rubber hoses installed, and now all that's left is to slide the intercooler into place, tighten that T-bolt clamp, and we should be good to go. Once you have screwed the T-bolt clamps onto the intercooler, it is now time to screw the intercooler, the new one, back into place. The provided washers were the rubber ones, but we went to the store and bought different metal washers for a better, tighter, secure, and we're gonna have to tighten these, and then now the intercooler is completely installed. The customer also wanted us to install a performance drop-in air filter. We went ahead and chose the K&N one because it's direct fit. Once you are certain that all the rubber seals are properly in place and everything is 100% flush, then you're ready to put the cap back on. The way you put it is those little tabs have to fit in there first, so you kind of have to slide it in this way, then click it down. Just like this. Slide it in back, then press it down. And now you can put your clips back in place. And now you just put them all back in place and you're done. Okay, after about 2.5 to 3 hours, probably closer to 3, well, just because this was my first time, we finally got the intercooler in. We stenciled it with an H&H. The most difficult part, I would say, was getting this pipe, that pipe right there, to connect with this one, and at the same time screwing that T-bolt clamp in right there, and then at the same time screwing this side in, that T-bolt clamp, and also connecting it right here. I'll try to give you guys a good look. Right there. Can't really see it, but that's where it connects to the turbo outlets. Anyways, this is kind of a difficult project, so you definitely need 2 people. But once you get it in, the next step is obviously to start the car, make sure it runs. That means you have no boost leaks or anything like that. So here we go. Idle's normal. Appears to be accelerating just fine. idling normal. The headlight codes are coming up because they're missing because the bumper's not on. But everything seems to be running fine. So I call it a successful project.